Our home planet is the only place we know of so far that's inhabited by living things. But sooner or later we have to leave it. But where? To Mars, Jupiter, or Saturn moons? Scientists recently discovered some exoplanets in the universe that will completely blow your mind. The scientists identifies 24 exoplanets that could be superhabitable worlds more suitable for life than our own. The researchers devised a set of criteria for planets to be considered possibly habitable. This list covers ages ranging from 5 billion to 8 billion years old, as well as a location within a star's habitable zone where liquid water could exist. They also looked for long-lived stars that are colder than the Sun. Hello and welcome to new episode. In today's video, you will learn about better-than-Earth planets and exoplanets recently discovered by scientists. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. It helps you to get notified when we post more contents just like this. So, without further ado, let's get started. Teegarden B. Teegarden star B, also known as Teegarden B, is an exoplanet discovered orbiting within the habitable zone of Teegarden star, M-type red dwarf located around 12 light-years from the solar system. As of April 2020, it is the fourth closest potentially habitable exoplanet after Teegarden star C. What exactly is an exoplanet? There are trillions of planets in the universe. A large portion of the total number of planets are uninhabitable. But there are billions of habitable planets out there. There is just one habitable planet in our solar system. However, in certain star systems, the number of habitable planets may reach 5. In short, the planets in the other solar systems within the habitable zones are known as exoplanets. Teegarden B is a habitable planet that orbits the star Teegarden A, red dwarf, 9 times smaller than our Sun. Teegarden star is 12,600,000 years old, while our Sun is 4,600,000 years old. SHOCKS et al. Discovered it at Kepler Alto Observatory in June 2019. It is approximately 12.5 light-years away from Earth. According to lead author Matthias Zechmeister, the two planets resemble the inner planets of our solar system. They are only slightly heavier than Earth and are located in the so-called habitable zone, where water can be present in liquid form. One of the smallest stars ever discovered, Teegarden star is around 10 times less massive than the Sun. Furthermore, it is far colder, just 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite being so near, Teegarden star remained unknown to astronomers until 2003 because it is so relatively cold, and hence relatively faint. The star bears the name of Bernard J. Teegarden, the head of the discovery team who works at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. Because Teegarden star is a small M-type red dwarf, its habitable zone is likewise much smaller than, for instance, the one around the Sun. However, it so happens that both of the recently discovered planets orbit in this zone. Although it doesn't definitely indicate life, it does demonstrate that the planets may be livable, depending on other elements like composition and atmosphere. The deadly and powerful solar flares that red dwarf stars are known for producing have even been known to sometimes strip planets of their atmospheres. According to the Earth Similarity Index, which is based on Abel Mendez's investigation at the Planetary Habitability Laboratory run by the University of Puerto Rico at Arecibo, Teegarden B is 95% Earth similar. The Earth Similarity Index is an approximation, based on known factors about a planet, but is not definitive. It offers an overview of how Earth-like a planet may be, but there are numerous things to take into account. The planet's habitability is also affected by the temperature and the composition of the planet, and its atmosphere, even if the planet has water. For instance, a recent Earth Sky story discussed the possibility of poisonous chemicals in a planet's atmosphere. Teegarden B has a 60% chance of having a temperate surface environment, with temperatures between 32 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit. According to the Earth Similarity Index, the temperature on the surface should be closer to 82 degrees Fahrenheit if the atmosphere is comparable to Earth's. There is only a 3% possibility that Teegarden C, which is farther away from the star, has a warm surface temperature. Teegarden C has a 68% Earth Similarity Index. If the atmosphere is more like to that of Mars, the temperature is predicted to be minus 52 Fahrenheit. Teegarden B has a mass that is 1.05 times that of the Earth. It takes Teegarden B 4.9 days to complete an orbit around his host star. Yes, you are right. In Teegarden B, a year is less than a week here on Earth. Scientists created an Earth Similarity Index system. In comparison to Teegarden B, which has an ESI value of 0.84, Earth has a value of 1. Any planet with an ESI value higher than 0.8 is able to support life in a similar way to Earth. Despite being tidally locked, the planet's twilight stripe may sustain life. And according to some scientists, if the ozone layer is thicker than that of the Earth, the twilight stripe may be more habitable than the Earth, because the star of Teegarden B radiates 100 times more radiation than our Sun. Although we are not able to travel there or send a space probe, Teegarden B may be more habitable than Earth. It takes 560,000 years to reach Teegarden B with current technology. That is why scientists are working on warp drive technology to go faster than the speed of light. Kepler 1649 degrees Celsius. The NASA Kepler Space Telescope ran out of fuel in October 2018 after 9 years of searching the larger universe for alien planets. Kepler found more than 2,600 unusual and fascinating exoplanets throughout its mission. Kepler is the mission that keeps on giving 2 years after retiring. An exoplanet that is the closest to Earth in terms of size and temperature and orbits within its star's habitable zone has been found by scientists, who are reanalyzing old Kepler data. Out of the approximately 4,000 exoplanets we have found so far, some were closer to Earth's size and others had more comparable temperatures. None have, however, come close to Earth in terms of all of those factors, as well as circling in the habitable zone of its star, or the range of orbits around a star where a planet may support liquid water. This intriguing, distant world gives us even greater hope that a second Earth lies among the stars, waiting to be found. Thomas Zurbuchen, Associate Administrator of NASA's Science Mission Directorate in Washington, said in a statement. In cosmic terms, Kepler 1649c is also relatively close as it is only 300 light-years from Earth. Kepler 1649c, in contrast to Earth, orbits around a red dwarf star, the most common kind of star in the galaxy. Red dwarfs are also the smallest and coldest, with mass ranging from 0.08 to 0.6 times that of the Sun. According to NASA, this sort of star is also known for stellar flare-ups, which are sudden increases in a star's magnetic energy and may make life on the exoplanet somewhat difficult. The exoplanet's atmosphere, which may impact its temperatures and capacity to support human life, is another area of uncertainty for scientists. The Kepler 160 star has a radius of 1.1 solar radii and a surface temperature of 52 degrees Celsius, 300 degrees lower than the Sun. It also possesses a stellar brightness close to that of the Sun, making it quite similar to our star. 4 planets are thought to circle the star. The planet also has a 378-day orbital period, which is extremely similar to Earth's. A year on Kepler 1649c is similar to just 19.5 days on Earth because of how closely the exoplanet circles its home star. However, there are additional indications that Kepler 1649c is a strong contender for habitability. Another planet in the star system is rocky and around the same size. The distance at which this second planet orbits the star is about half that of Kepler 1649c. The orbital period ratios of the two planets are almost perfect. As a result, the inner planet orbits the host star nearly precisely 9 times for every 4 times the outer planet in the system orbits the star. According to NASA, this constant ratio is an indication that the system is stable and likely to last for a very long period. The Super-Earth. Scientists have found a super-Earth that is 4 times the mass of our planet and completes a year in only 10.8 days. According to NASA, the exoplanet, known as Ross 508b, was identified using a new infrared monitoring technology. It is 37 light-years away from us. The super-Earth skims in and out of the habitable zone of its star, and, like our planet, it spins around a red dwarf star named Ross 508. According to Space.com, this super-Earth is close enough to our planet for atmospheric studies, which might help scientists in figuring out if life is possible orbiting low-mass stars. The super-Earth was discovered for the first time this year in May by astronomers in Japan. The findings were a part of the study titled A Super-Earth Orbiting Near the Inner Edge of the Habitable Zone Around the M45 Dwarf Ross 508. According to the study, the exoplanet circles the star at a distance that provides temperatures that are favorable for the creation of water on the planet's surface. This suggests that Ross 508b is the star's habitable zone. Using the Subaru telescope of the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan and Hawaii, scientists discovered the planet close to a dim star. Ross 508b circles Ross 508 every 10.8 days because the star is smaller than the Sun in size. Ross 508 is also quite dim, therefore the super-Earth receives 1.4 times as much sun energy as Earth does. The Ross 508 is the weakest and smallest star with an orbiting planet, the research finds, with a mass of around 18% that of the Sun. The radial velocity method was used to find the star, discovering giant worlds like gaseous planets that orbit at a distance that is too close for liquid water is easier with the help of this method for finding exoplanets. Triple Sun Planet. There is now even more proof that the most unusual sort of planet in the known universe, a single planet circling 3 suns simultaneously, may be found in a strange star system sitting on the nose of the constellation Orion. With 3 dusty, orange rings nestled inside of one another, the star system known as GW Orionis, which is around 1,300 light-years from Earth, provides a tempting target for research. The system actually resembles a large bullseye in the sky. 3 stars are located in the bullseye in its center, with 2 of them locked in a tight binary orbit and the third swirling wildly wildly around the other two. The more closely scientists examine GW Ori, the stranger it becomes. Triple star systems are uncommon in the galaxy. Researchers use the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array Telescope in Chile to examine GW Ori closely in a 2020 paper that was published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters. They found that the system's 3 dust rings are actually out of alignment with one another, with the innermost ring wobbling wildly in its orbit. The scientists suggested that a young planet, or the beginnings of one, may be interacting with GW Ori's complex triple-ring gravitational balance. It would be the first triple-sun planet in the known cosmos if the finding is verified. The existence of that uncommon planet is now supported by an article that was published in the journal Monthly Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. Based on studies of other dust rings elsewhere in the cosmos, the study authors conducted 3D simulations to explore how the unexplained gaps in the star system's rings may have formed. The scientists put to the test 2 theories. Either a planet developed within one of the rings, creating a break in the rings of GW Ori, or the break resulted from the torque produced by the 3 rotating stars at the system's center. The researchers concluded that there is not enough turbulence in the rings for the stellar torque theory to work. Instead, the models suggest that a giant planet the size of Jupiter, or maybe multiple planets, is the likelier explanation for the ring's strange shape and behavior. However, the 2 stars at the system's center move in such a close binary orbit that they would appear as one large star, with the third swooping around them, the researchers said. As a result, a hypothetical observer of this hypothetical planet would not actually be able to see all 3 suns rise and set in the sky. However, if confirmed, the existence of this planet would demonstrate that planets may develop under a wider array of conditions than scientists previously thought. If 3 suns in a wobbling mismatch of dust rings aren't enough to derail a young planet, what is? Dancing ghosts. Western Sydney University and Australia's National Research Organisation, CSIRO, have found strange clouds of electrons surrounding galaxies deep in space. The clouds, which are almost a billion light-years distant and have never been observed before, seem to be 2 ghosts dancing. After weeks of work, researchers figured out they were seeing 2 host galaxies, about a billion light-years away. In their centers are 2 supermassive black holes, squirting out jets of electrons that are then bent into grotesque shapes by an intergalactic wind. Radio galaxies are active galaxies that produce more light at radio wavelengths than visible wavelengths. Intergalactic winds are streams of charged particles moving at high speeds that are often seen to be emitted by galaxies. According to Norris, the dancing ghosts are caused by material falling into the black hole, which creates a zone of tremendous pressure and temperature outside the event horizon, the point beyond which nothing, including light, can escape. The electron beams are squirted out of the system by this high pressure, he said. The radio waves that humans see are really the result of electrons swirling around cosmic magnetic fields. The magnetic field causes each electron to be bent from its intended path, releasing energy that humans perceive as radio waves. The simple part is that understanding how these electron jets bend into these odd forms is the difficult part. Norris said that several further observations and computer modeling experiments would be required in order to completely understand the dancing ghosts, since there are still many outstanding problems, such as the origin of the cosmic wind. But every new discovery prompts a fresh set of questions, and this one is no different. We are still unsure about the direction of the wind. Why is it so complicated? And what is responsible for the radio emission streams? Do you think exoplanets really have life and people like us live there? We'd love to hear what you think about exoplanets in the comments, and thanks for watching the video. If you want to continue to learn about everything regarding incredible things, we've got 2 more video options for you on the screen to check out. And don't forget to give a thumbs up on this video if you liked it, and subscribe to the Electric World channel for daily content just like this.